Out of the most powerful Atlantic storm this record-setting hurricane season. Hurricane Iota made landfall in Nicaragua last night as a Category 4 hurricane. While its winds have since weakened, the path of destruction will likely trigger a humanitarian crisis just weeks after Hurricane Eta killed more than 100 people and forced tens of thousands to evacuate. Brian K. Sullivan covers hurricane season for Bloomberg and joins me now by phone. Brian, just how bad is Iota?
There's a lot of pictures coming out of Central America right now of houses being crushed, roofs torn off, trees knocked over, streets flooded. So we're getting some indications that there is, some really good initial damage. Unfortunately, the human cost probably will take a few days to assess here as we go on.
It's not just a humanitarian crisis, which is absolutely awful, but it also has serious economic consequences too. Sugar and coffee production can be affected. Take us through what's going on there.
So these heavy rains, what's going to happen is the storm is actually, the winds are dying down, and now it's going to wring itself out like a sponge. And it's that flooding rain that's really going to affect those sugar and coffee crops. It'll weaken the areas where they're growing. It'll damage the plants, drown them. So this could have an impact on both of those crops. And this is a big area for exporting coffee and sugar. And as it does, it'll go over the mountains, and that'll further rip its winds apart. This is what's going to make it a little different than Eta. Eta made a hook and then came back out and went into the Gulf of Mexico and threatened the U.S. coast. Iota isn't going to do that. It's just going to bury itself in the mountains of Central America.
In your most recent story on Bloomberg News, you write that this is the first time the Atlantic has produced two major hurricanes Category 3 or stronger in November. That's according to a tweet from a lead author at the Colorado State University's seasonal forecast. What is the significance of that superlative?
This entire year has been so record-setting. It's stunning everyone. And Phil Klotzbach, who sent out that tweet, has an encyclopedic knowledge of hurricanes in the Atlantic. And he has just been ticking off milestone after milestone all through this season. We've had 30 named storms, which are storms that are tropical storm strength or greater, named this year, which breaks the old record of 28. The U.S. has been hit 12 times, which never happened before. And now we've had these double back-to-back hurricanes, one in Nicaragua, but two sets in Nicaragua and a pair in Louisiana. So, it's going to take some time probably for researchers to really tease out what went on this year, but just from the first indications, it's really just been a catastrophic year.
When we see records like this and we see extreme weather, I think a natural question to ask is the connection that this extreme weather has to climate change. What can you tell us?
The ocean started out very warm this spring. The Gulf of Mexico was record warm. The Caribbean was near record warm on the other side of Florida. So, and we're in one of the hottest years on record. The indications are that we're actually seeing what you would expect from a climate change world, not to mention the fact that we've also had a record number of storms, what they call rapidly intensify, which is when a hurricane just grows in strength and power in a 24-hour period. We're up to 10 now. So every way you look at it, you're beginning to see the worrying signs that we're living in a world where climate change is having a direct impact, or at least putting its thumb on the scales.
So are we going to start thinking of extreme weather as less extreme and more just normal and part of life on this earth?
I've been doing this since 2008, and that's exactly how I think of it. We've had a fire season, for instance, in Australia last year, and then we've had another record fire season in California and Colorado. We had a huge derecho go across the Midwest earlier this year over the summer. We've had this unending string of hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean. And it seems like every year we have another string of just powerful record-setting weather all over the place. So it is certainly the way I think about it.
Bloomberg's Brian Sullivan, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it this morning.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.